Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Wednesday night, you know the heavy hitters live is all right and on time. As you see today's episode, we are previewing the Falcons versus Vikings Sunday night football matchup for week two. I'm your host, K Styles, aka the Sixth Man. We have Jew Talk Sports.
Yes, sir.
We have Mad Mike Sports.
Uh, uh, uh.
Oh,
Done ruin my day with this Michigan talk.
oh my God. There go. And speaking of Don, El Grande Cerro Deverano, aka the Don's favors in the building.
Just look over your shoulders. Anytime you look over your shoulders, just
Oh my
know
God.
it's gonna be a Michigan fan right there behind
Man,
you.
you about to get timed out. Oh, like you ain't in. We ain't been in a whole minute, 2 minutes yet, and you already giving us some Michigan talk.
You the one brought up Michigan first on them. I ain't
No,
saying
you was up here slobbering over JJ.
no, man, I wasn't doing all that now. Don't even try it like that now.
Hey, he wears the Michigan soul. He wears his clothes, the earrings, the neck, the hat. Like he probably got Michigan soap too.
Look, first off, I don't even have my ears ain't even pierced, so I don't even wear earrings.
Jason, I apologize on behalf of the Don himself. He causes a lot of chaos around here because he calls himself. Never mind. I'm gonna just let it go. I'm gonna let it go because that man Don being here fighting for the next 10 minutes or so. I'm a Georgia fan who's not a typical Georgia fan. All right, that's.
I'll be mad too if a team had 8 more national championships than I did. So anyway,
you probably ate 8 more donuts than everybody else too, didn't you?
I'm on the diet, so.
Now that sounds like some bull right there, but
I am on a diet. I don't lost like.
So you ain't less donuts.
Nah, man. Hey, man. Like you said, we got a special guest this evening representing the Minnesota Vikings. You see him on the screen, Mr. Jason Harmon. What's going
I've
on,
seen
man?
Jason around some. I've seen him around Twitter. The name keeps bringing up. I'm sure I've seen it somewhere.
I pop off every now and then on Twitter,
Okay.
Do my memes and whatnot. But yeah, I'm doing good. I'm still. I think before last night, I didn't even sleep last night. I got 2 kids, but yeah, before that, I think I had to head to the airport Monday to go to Chicago at like 4 a.m. and then I slept like 2 hours after the game. So I'm running on E a little bit, but worth it to be at that game Monday night. That was a ride, to say the least.
Hey, man. Speaking of that, man, for the people that are watching, man, what was your thoughts on that game? And like you said, we saw the Vikings pull that dub out. Man, what's your thought on the team so far?
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts. I'll try to do the short version of what we did on our own podcast over on Score North Purple Dailies before I die. But it was everything Vikings fans had been told to expect from this offseason as far as the improved offensive line, the improved run game, JJ coming in and killing it. In the first half, we didn't see any of that. In fact, we saw the opposite. So I was sitting there around Bears fans who, whether you've been to a game or not, I'm sure you know, probably like to chirp a lot. So I was stressing quite a bit. And then I just knew with this team, we've had so many comebacks. We have the largest comeback in NFL history. Never, ever totally give up. They always keep you around with just that little bit of hope that they're going to break your heart or make you happy. And sure enough, something flipped after that pick 6. JJ McCarthy, we were talking about it with Don, just hitting that Michigan mode and that killer instinct that he got from Harbaugh and just going sicko mode out there and leading an insane
Yes.
comeback. Defense got it together. Jordan Mason, who I think was, and I'm obviously biased, but I think was the best value trade any team made this entire offseason, started carrying the load. And then you had Aaron Jones come through in the passing game for that second touchdown. That's what we were promised we were going to see. So we saw it mainly like in a quarter and a half towards the end of the third and obviously the whole fourth. If we can keep that momentum going the rest of the year, we're going to be cooking with gas. I'm going to be ready to go.
All right. So, like I said, man, we're not gonna let Jason spill all the beans on that. So, like I said, man, follow the podcast, man. Let them know the podcast you got again for the people in the back.
Yep, I'm on the weekly show through Purple Daily. So Purple Daily, it's the largest Vikings podcast in, I'd say, the world. Probably is. I'm not exactly sure how those numbers work out, but it's definitely up there. It's in the top 100 on the sports charts in Spotify and Apple. They do a weekly show that's more of a fan-led show that I'm on. It's called Before I Die. So if you ever check out Purple Daily on YouTube or Spotify, Apple Music, that's where you'll find me once a week, usually the day after Vikings games. I recorded from my hotel in Chicago. If you ever see, you guys may have seen this, there's a page, Strictly B-Ball and then Strictly Football. My buddy Leighton runs Strictly Football. They do a lot of football breakdowns. He's one of my co-hosts on that show. That guy does some of the best football edits on TikTok and voiceover work, talking through prospects, whatever they may be at the collegiate high school level or how they're doing in the NFL. So it's a pretty awesome crew we get to be with, talking about the Vikings every week. So hopefully we win this week, but hypothetically, if you guys walk away with the victory and want to see some Vikings fans react to what you do to us, check in on Tuesday. I'm sure you'll see us have a mental breakdown.
All right. So, like I said, man, we're going to definitely put that in our community tabs on each one of our individuals here. So we're going to go ahead and get right into this matchup, man. And Dog, I'm gonna let you run point on this one, man. So, what do you think about this matchup?
And look, it's two offenses, man, that are very explosive, going at each other. The Vikings defense look like it's improving under Flores. We still trying to figure out our identity on defense, but it just look, everybody's just been hyping it up like it's not a rematch of the national championship game because they're not playing in college football, so they're playing two different teams. So, you know, I like what I saw at Penix this past Sunday. He played well. We just couldn't stop Tampa Bay from scoring. So, but our run game, I think our run game is going to be a little better this week because what I saw Monday night, Chicago, they ran the ball well against Minnesota. But again, we have Bijan and we have Tyler Algier, and I think our run blocking scheme is way better than Chicago. So I can see Bijan or Tyler getting close to or at least 100 yards on the ground Sunday night. My biggest issue is we have to contain J.J. McCarthy. When he get out of the pocket, he's very dangerous. He got out of the pocket because he can run forward, and he can also make throws in pretty much anywhere on the field in the back of the behind the line of scrimmage. So that's a issue. That's a thing that we got to do. We got to contain him and just keep him in the pocket.
Okay. We're gonna go Mike, and then, like I said, we're gonna follow it up with Jew. Go ahead, man, Mike. What you think about this matchup, man?
I don't know what the hell Dunn is talking about Michigan and this is a rematch. I have never heard that. You got to be in some.
It's been on Twitter. It's been on Twitter. I swear it's been on.
It's
Twitter.
all over. Like, it's all over. The Penix McCarthy matchup. I've been seeing that all week. I've been hyped about it. Yeah.
Cam, have you seen this? Because I'm Jew. What about you? I have not seen any of this.
Get on social media.
Yeah,
I am.
Well, you ain't
yeah,
getting it
I've
then.
heard it.
Adam
I've heard it.
Schefter, right
That's
Yeah,
what
there.
I'm saying. Adam Schefter, he done tweeted it out.
yeah, I've heard it. But it's
Well,
just
I
crazy.
stand corrected. I stand corrected.
You just want to debunk anything about
Well,
Falcons.
as we should. They trash, okay? They got their behind whipped, as we should. But
Who got they
I,
behind with?
I'm, I said I stand corrected, sir. Okay, yeah, like you lucky you got that from me. Um, I don't. I think this is going to be a game, and I'm gonna keep it short. I think this is just to be a game of young quarterbacks. Whoever the one that keeps their composure. Um, although JJ, I don't. I'm just gonna be honest. There's nothing about him just stands out to me. It's just nothing about him that stands out to me. I'm not saying he's not a good quarterback. I'm not saying that I wasn't impressed about what I saw. He did get it back together after throwing a pick six, and that could have went anyway. That could have got really ugly for the Vikings. But I think was it Kevin O'Connell as the offensive coordinator
Yeah, he the head
there.
coach.
Um, Well, the play caller, not so much here, but I thought he did a good job of kind of calming them down. Some that Zach Robinson for the Falcons really hasn't learned the art of that as far as play calling is concerned with young quarterbacks. But like I said, it's not always about skills with quarterbacks. It's about their confidence, their ability to forget the negative plays and to learn from that. And so far, I've seen both quarterbacks, exhibit those habits. So, like I said, for me, again, I look at Michael Penix. I see what he can physically do with the ball, as far as his arm talent is concerned. Not saying that JJ can't, he doesn't have that, but he's not he's not Michael Penix. But you don't have to have a strong arm like I mean Matt Ryan has shown you that. Drew Brees has shown you that you don't have the Tom Brady he's shown you that you don't have to have the necessary quote unquote arm talent like a Michael Penix and these guys. Their abilities to get the ball in the Brett Favres of the world. You don't have to have that type of arm talent in order to be a terrific quarterback. So that's just like I said, that's just me.
I can't wait to respond to that one.
Oh
That's gonna
yeah,
be good.
yeah. I'm waiting for it. I'm gonna let. I ain't gonna
Oh,
say nothing. I'm just gonna let you talk, man.
I want to say if you got a rebuttal to that, man, go ahead, man. Let's hear what you got on that.
Yeah, just specifically on that. So I'm gonna admit something. So during the 2023 Viking season, especially once Kirk went down and we kind of figured like we might not bring this dude back, I started really getting into like, all right, who are the quarterback prospects? Drake May, obviously Caleb Williams was. I'm a USC fan. I'm originally from Southern California. Really glad that didn't happen. But I love Michael Penix. Michael Penix, like his deep ball is fantastic. His resilience coming back from everything he faced in college is incredible. I really thought that he was probably going to be the guy. I thought McCarthy, like most scouts towards the beginning of the year, or pardon me, beginning of the draft process, would maybe be a second round pick. And I didn't watch a lot of his film. I just kind of took everything at face value as far as like, hey, they run the football a lot, all this. He doesn't have to make a lot of throws. And then I just dove into his all 22. I went crazy deep into everything and a lot of what some of the analysts I trust were saying. He goes to the combine. He throws the second highest ball velocity of anyone there behind Joe Milton, who set a record, by the way, right? And that's there's difference between necessarily speed and deep ball, but he's been clocked throwing a ball in not necessarily competitive practice, but just when they have you chuck it deep and see how far you can throw it up to 70 yards in high school, right? So you're right in saying he's not necessarily going to be the same type of bomb it out quarterback. But his mentality, I think, goes beyond confidence. Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw what he said to Aaron Jones shared as far as what he said in the huddle. He walked up when they were down after he threw a pick six and looks at those guys. This is a 22-year-old, the youngest starting quarterback in the NFL, and says, "Is there anywhere else you'd rather be right now?" What type of that is psychotic? Like, just objectively speaking, you're not right in the head, and that's what you kind of want with these quarterbacks. And so as far as that level of confidence, I think it goes beyond just your typical confident quarterback. It goes to that kind of psycho mentality where something special can happen. But I think the arm talent conversation is one that probably gets misconstrued a lot. If anything, what I noticed in camp, and Kevin O'Connell talked about this, they had to tell him to pull his arm strength back. They were telling him he wasn't throwing with enough touch. If you look at that pick six he threw, it's because he threw late and he threw too much touch on the pass. He floated it in there because he's been getting coached all offseason like, hey, not everything needs to be a bullet. And then they let him rip, and that throw to Jetta's in the end zone, that was a bullet, right? So when he's able to let his arm strength fly, it's the best part of his game. So I don't think he's going to be throwing it 80 yards deep or whatever, some psycho stats like that. But I do think he has a lot more talent than people give him credit for when it comes to his arm strength.
Exactly. And I want to say this too. Like, if you go back and you look at the Rose Bowl, all right, that was one of the first off, that was the best bowl game I've seen in this century. I don't care what anybody say. That was a great game. All right. Now, if you look, yes, we ran the ball, but at the same time, if you go back and you look at his stats, like he had like almost 70% completion rated, and like the throws that he made, it was like, how did he make that throw? Like the throw he made to Roman Wilson, like that should have been incomplete. But he threw it only where Roman Wilson could catch the ball. Like his football IQ is very high. Like when we won the Big Ten in 2021, because we had Cade Nakamura as our quarterback. Everybody thought the next season, everybody thought Cade was gonna get the job, and I'm like, no, JJ getting the job because we need a quarterback who cannot make mistakes. Because if you go back and look at that Orange Bowl game we played against Georgia, we got our ass whipped in that game. Cade made a lot of mistakes in that game. So if you want to win games, you have to have a smart quarterback under center. You just have to. But going back to that Rose Bowl game, I'm like, the way I saw JJ play, because I thought he was gonna be like a third or fourth round pick. But just watching that game, I said, there's no way he's not gonna make it out of the first round. Like, you went up against a prolific, prototypical NFL team as the Alabama Crimson Tide at that time, Dallas Turner and all those guys, and you went into the Rose Bowl and beat them. Damn. That's how great JJ McCarthy is, man. Like.
Yeah, like you said, what'd you say, Mike? We had to let the Michigan fandom come out right quick before we get to Jew.
I'm not gonna say nothing else because every time I say something about Michigan, he wants to correct me about as if I don't have two eyes. That man does not have elite arm strength. He doesn't have elite skills. He's incredibly intelligent. He has the confidence. He has everything of a quarterback that you want in a quarterback to be successful. But if you're trying to tell me that he has the same arm skill as an arm talent as a Michael Penix, you are absolutely crazy.
No one said that. He said that he has the arm strength, but it's not. He doesn't have, like, we know Penix has that arm strength, but JJ McCarthy has it as well. Like, it's not on the same level. But some people thinking that, he's just gonna dink and dunk, but no, that's not.
It's also different too. It's different because, like, arm strength, you look at arm strength, you can have somebody who could throw the ball 50, 60 yards in the air, but it's kind of floating in there, right? You look at, like, Sam Darnold did that last year against San Francisco, Jetta's 97-yard touchdown. That was great touch. It was deep, but Darnold wasn't good at ripping it 15 to 20 yards on a rope. JJ can do that into a tight window better than almost any prospect I've seen. So there's arm strength in different ways. I don't think he's going to chuck it deep downfield like Penix can. That's the main reason I love Penix possibly going to the Vikings in 24 was imagine Jettas and Addison running a streak and you just have Penix down there just chucking it deep for him. I thought that was really intriguing. But the Vikings have always had a pretty good deep pass game. What we've lacked is accuracy short to intermediate routes. I think JJ is going to be the best that we've had in a long time at getting the ball in there with a bullet behind it.
Yeah, who's y'all tight end right now?
Hawkinson. And then we also have
yeah.
probably the most slept on tight end, too. We run a lot of 2 tight end sets in Josh Oliver, who was mainly brought on because he's the best blocking tight end in the league. But with Hawkinson out last year, he had a lot of clutch plays. So you'll see both of them on the field a lot. And both of them are really good pass catchers. Hawkinson obviously being more of the receiving tight end. I think Oliver's coming into being more well-rounded. But those are guys that anywhere from about 5 to 15 yards downfield, JJ is going to look to a lot. And he spent a lot of the summer in Nashville working with Hawkinson directly.
Yeah, Hawkinson's going to be a Pro Bowler. And no, Michigan was not favored to win against Bama. Everybody doubted Michigan in that game.
All right, man. Jude, man, what's your take on this matchup, man?
Okay, so the first thing I'll say about this matchup, and Jason, thank you for joining us tonight, man. We appreciate you joining us, giving your insight on both the Falcons and the Vikings. But first thing I'll say is in this game, I'm looking at whoever wins the turnover battle. I really feel like that's what the game's going to come down to. If the Falcons win the turnover battle, they'll win this game. If they lose the turnover battle, 9 times out of 10, we lose this game. To get into what you guys were talking about the quarterbacks, JJ McCarthy coming out, I thought he would be a second round pick. But I understand why they picked him where they picked him, because I do think that he has the leadership skills. And he kind of puts me in the mind of a Jalen Hurts in that he wins a lot of games, but he's not going to enamor you, as Mike was saying, with his arm. He's not going to enamor you with, oh man, like he does this great. He has a great arm. What he enamors you with is he's a winner. Go look at his stats. He's won at Michigan. He's won in high school. The guy is a winner. I'll give him that. He has that it factor. Would I want him on the Falcons? No, I didn't want him, because to me, it was to me, compare him to Penix, like you said, to me, Penix is a special arm talent. I don't think that JJ is a special arm talent, but what I love about JJ is he has that ability that he doesn't shrink in big moments, and he's not afraid of the moment. You saw him throw a pick six, come right back, like you said, and forgot all about it. I don't care about that. I threw a pick, and I'm going to throw it again. Similar to what I talked about last week with Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield is not a great athlete, but what Baker Mayfield is, he's tough as nails. The dude is not afraid to throw an interception, meaning he threw that ball. He's willing to throw the football through a keyhole. He thinks he's that confident and that cocky, and that's what JJ is. He's extremely confident in himself. To be a great athlete or a great, especially on the pro level, you got to believe in yourself. So there's one thing that scares me about JJ is he's going to take chances. So the Falcons going to have opportunities to intercept the football, but you got Jettis, you throwing that ball down there too. So Jettis can make some spectacular catches. So in this game, JJ has a chance to light it up, or he has a chance to throw some picks. Like we seen him throw that pick six. So he's like when he's hot, he's hot. When he's cold, he's cold. So he's a guy that can go warm and cold. So in this game, which JJ is going to show up? Is it going to be the JJ that we seen in that fourth quarter where he went crazy on the Bears? Or is it going to be the early JJ where everybody was like, get this dude out the league? Because everybody was early in the game against that Bears game. I don't know if you guys was on Twitter and seeing people was like, why did they draft this kid? He's not ready. After he threw that pick late, everybody was complaining. But then what did he have? He had the gall and the balls to say, he didn't get down on himself by making mistakes. So I really feel like that's the big thing is you got to believe in yourself before anything. Before anybody else believes in you, you got to believe in yourself. So that's what I like about JJ is his confidence. But one thing I will say, he has the better coach. I'll give him that. When he was at Michigan, Jim Harbaugh's great head coach, quarterback whisperer, tough as nails. Same thing with Kevin O'Connell. Kevin O'Connell was a better head coach and better play caller than Zach Robinson. To me, he's proven that he's a better coach than Raheem Morris because the guy's won Coach of the Year, I believe, multiple times at this point. So, that goes without saying. So I really feel like that's where the Vikings are going to have the edge is Kevin O'Connell is just an extremely smart coach. He's going to draw it up. He's not going to put JJ in vicarious type weird positions where he's not going to throw the ball 40 times unless the Falcons get a huge lead. If you look at last game, I think he threw the ball 20 times. So it's going to be a balanced attack. He's not going to put JJ in a bad situation where he got to win the game. Unless we get up early, which that's the only, I really feel like that's the Falcons' biggest advantage. Get a lead and make JJ have to throw the football and make him beat you. If they keep the playbook wide open, meaning they can keep balance, they can run it, they can play action off the run, it's going to be a long game. And I expect that could happen because Minnesota has a really good defense that usually keeps them in games. So that's what I'll say about it. I mean, I do think, you got to respect JJ because, like I said, he's a winner. But am I enamored by, oh man, this kid's the next coming? I don't think so. I just really think that you got to respect him. Like Baker, you got to respect Baker Mayfield. A lot of people don't like him, but the dude is tough as nails. The dude was the first overall pick, bounced around for a little bit, but when he got his opportunity with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he did his thing. So you got to respect it. So I got respect for JJ.
All right, all right, all right. Well, Truth, look like you just snuck in here, man. What's up? What's going on with you, man?
Hey man, I'm just here so I won't get fined. I'm taking in what everybody said. We just need to go 1-1, man. I hate to be so elementary, but we need to go 1-1. We need the I know the Vikings is tough up there in that building, man. They so tough. And then the Sunday night football, the crowd they got a great crowd up there. Um, now we got to see how I'm still calling them the Rook. How the Rook responds. Well, you know what? No, well, he went on the road last year in a hostile environment on Sunday night, so he should be okay. Um, I think the
We
main
played
thing,
Washington. We played Washington last year.
yeah, we played Washington on Sunday night. I think the main thing is clean up the mistakes that we had. We didn't have a whole slew of penalties, but the penalties that we had were kind of crippling. Um, uh, Let me say something on the roughing the passer. A lot of people been really going at the Aurora kid. That was not I'm not passive here. That was not roughing the passer at all. That was a bad call. I got another word that I call it, but I'm gonna respect the show. But that was a bad call, an extremely bad call. And to say he needs to know, he needs to have I had somebody tell me he need to have situational awareness, and I freaking lost. Y'all know. Everybody on here know when I lose it, I lost it on them. Like that was not rough in the passer. But at any rate, let's clean up we got to just clean up the mistakes. And just hopefully we can get a field goal made in crunch time. I'm not. I'm kind of off the fire cool train. In my first 48 hours as a fan, I was in my feelings. Because it happens. You got to always give yourself a 48-hour window. So I was ready to throw cool away, but he don't need to miss no more like that, in my opinion. I see they got a kicking competition. We just need to be a little more cleaner. Let's catch the football. We had a lot of drops. We had a total of 12 drops, 8 on the offensive side, 4 on the defensive side. We need to catch the football both ways. Um, for those of you all, I'm gonna say this. For those of you all who feverishly blame or have an issue with Zach Robinson, Zach probably need to clean it up a little bit. But I don't think he did too bad. But I'm concerned. The only thing I'm really concerned about is Minnesota's playmakers, and I know they got a stout front seven, and that's what I got.
All right. Can I add something? Because I was hoping a lot of people was going. I was hoping anybody in this panel was going to bring it up, but I believe this is like the first time because everybody keep comparing McCarthy, Penix, McCarthy. This game right here is Kevin O'Connell and Zach Robinson. Remember, they both worked under Sean McVay in Los Angeles. So that's why I said it's going to be an offensive type of game because they know each other very well. So I say I'm going to be intrigued of West because I really think O'Connor's going to go deep in his playbook. We're going to see some plays that we haven't seen. So
Okay. All right. So One of the questions, and we already know one of the major matchups of this game, and I wanted to get Jason's thought on this matchup. And he brought the name up, Mr. Jettis himself, Justin Jefferson versus AJ Terrell. Um, what's your thoughts on that? What's your thoughts on that matchup, man?
Yeah, I mean, I think it kind of ties into it, but I'll kind of go back to some of that was just mentioned as far as like how McCarthy looked in the first half because I think it plays a role. A lot of that was play calling. If you watch some of the all 22 breakdowns from guys like Chase Daniels or JT O'Sullivan, they'll even say like, yeah, McCarthy wasn't great, but he was not nearly as bad as what people online were saying because the play designs were off. So I think he had a drop. He was running a lot of routes that were designed short of the sticks. It was kind of weird. But once they adjusted that, a lot changed. KOC walked up to JJ when they were down 4 at halftime and said, "You're going to go win this game," and he let it fly, and it worked. And that included Jettas getting a TD. I expect Jettas to have a pretty good game. I think it's hard for me to be like, oh, he'll go off for like 120, 130, and 2 touchdowns because as long as Jordan Addison's out, you could cover him however you want. You could do double, triple teams. You can have the safety come in and blanket. You could do whatever. So I'm curious how they handle that because Thielen isn't a speed threat anymore. You guys have played him the last few years in Atlanta. He's still got pretty solid hands and can make plays, but he's not doing what he was 8-9 years ago in Minnesota where he's burning guys 60 yards downfield, right? So the Vikings only really right now have one true over-the-top threat. Our wide receiver 3, Jalen Naylor, could do that. He's super fast. They call him Speedy because he was a track star. But he's not the crisp route runner that you usually want from a guy like Addison or Jefferson, and his hands are iffy. So I'm curious how they design plays to get Jettas open. I think that that's going to be the key thing in that matchup. If they're designing comeback routes short of the sticks and things like that, I think maybe he'll have 60, 70 yards. But I think he could go off if they're actually. I think it comes down to the confidence in McCarthy because I think a lot of that hand holding and maybe just not great route design Jettas had was because they were trying to get McCarthy up to pace until they were just like let it fly and then they opened up the playbook. So I think Kevin O'Connell, he has a deep bag of tricks to get Jefferson open. I think hopefully McCarthy earned the right to execute those plays this weekend. And if he does, Jettas should have a pretty big day at US Bank because he tends to go off at home.
Okay. Cause the reason why I brought that up and Jay, just appreciate you coming up with that thought because as we played these guys last year, I did notice they used a lot of Justin Jefferson in the slot. So my question is for you is if that is the game plan to kind of move Justin Jefferson around and kind of use a lot of motion and put him in the slot. Do you think that we are better equipped this year than we were last year? Because we know D Offer got turned into a meme. I think they turned him into the Tasmanian Devil, but but what's your thought? What do you think we better equipped to be prepared for that this year?
Yeah, I definitely think we much more equipped this year. And my prediction for this game is Jesse Bates or Xavier Watts will have a pick in this game. Xavier Watts dropped 2 opportunities last week. That's not happening this week. I think one of those guys, whether it's a tip pass, I really feel like we're better on the back end, basically on the second and third level, because now you have Devon Diablo, who played an excellent game in his first game with the Falcons. I kept comparing him to Deion Jones, but as I watched him play, based off of how tall he is and things of that nature, he kind of reminds me more of a Foye Aluakon that we had on our team that's now a Jacksonville Jaguar. So because of his ability to cover in the middle of the field, even if they put Jettis in the slot, I think we'll bracket him. And we have 2 really good, capable safeties now. Last year, no disrespect to Justin Simmons, but Justin Simmons was a shell of himself last year. He didn't play well at all. I was a huge fan when he was in Denver, but that's the reason why he wasn't re-signed with the Falcons because he didn't have a good season last year. He blew to me a lot of tackles, a lot of missed tackles. a lot of blown coverages and things of that nature, which was uncharacteristic by him. But I really feel like Xavier Watts, that kid is going to be special. He played really, really well last year. Watching the game multiple times, looking at some cut-ups that I've seen on Twitter of people just breaking down his film and him always being in the right position to make plays. That says a lot about a young player. So he has a nose for the football. Also, Billy Bowman that we added, both of those guys were brought to the team because of their ability to take the ball away. So in this game, I really feel like we're more equipped. Now, Jettis is going to get his catches. Don't get me wrong. You're not going to shut him out where he's going to have 0 catches. I don't care if he's the only receiver out there on the field. They're going to find a way to get him the ball. And you saw that last week, even with Mike Evans, being able to sit down in zones and things of that nature and catch the ball over the middle and stuff like that. I think the same thing with Jettis. He's smart enough to know, even if he's being bracketed, he'll find, gaps enough and sit down and still be able to make plays. He might not have that spectacular, explosive 50-yard, down the field type play, but he's going to get his little 15-yard, in cuts and things of that nature. You're not going to stop that. But I definitely think that this Falcons team is more equipped this year, just based off of the guys that we got on the back end.
And so I want to move this on to truth. This question here, I have as far as this matchup. The offensive line, like I said, we've already established that Minnesota playing at home, and you already know that front four is going to be trying to come after it. And especially, like you say, you have to give respect to Brian Flores as a good defensive mind, as a coach. How confident are you all about the Falcons' offensive line in this matchup?
I'm pretty confident. Look, man, last week was the first game of the year. So you basically got 90 days to prepare for one team. So, I mean, Bowles had a good game plan. I'm expecting Flores to have a good game plan. I think we're going to clean up a couple things, and I think the necessary adjustments going to be made. And I can see us getting a push, man. I mean, Mike only hit the ground one time last week, and that's a win for me. No, we didn't run the ball like we needed to, but boy, I don't think Minnesota has a Vita Vea. So, and that's not making excuses. That's just what it is. So, I say push the pocket a little bit. Let Mike move. Let Mike be a little more athletic. And then in the run game, man, just hey, look, keep hat on hat, and let's get forward. Let's get north and south. But yeah, I feel okay about the O line.
Okay, I like that. All right, Mike, here's got another question for you. What do you think is Minnesota's biggest advantage in this matchup?
Coaching, because we got a slow ass head coach in Raheem Morris. I think he's a freaking moron, as you guys already know. I don't think he's a very good in game. I don't think he's a great in game strategist. I think he just watches and trusts his offensive coordinators, his coordinators way too much. Even if we see the same play 15 times in a row. I actually got a question for Jason in regards to the defense side of the ball for the Vikings, and where do you personally think the Falcons should be able to take advantage of?
I don't know if you guys saw our injury report. Our injury report was in a mess. Our cornerback room is by far our weakest position. We only rostered, I think, 4. And Jeff Okuda, who I believe you guys have some experience with, he had a really big camp. He looked like a guy who was hit or miss. He was having insane plays in camp once he got to Flores, or those were half his plays, and then half his plays were penalties in camp. And you got to really mess up to have a penalty called in camp. He's in concussion protocol. One of our best players, I think, criminally underrated player league-wide, Andrew Van Ginkel, is likely out with a concussion. However, I would say the pass rush, because of that, won't be as strong, and that's likely the case. I'd still say cornerback, because the guy who's going to step in for Andrew Van Ginkel is Dallas Turner, who, for him, and knowing his mentality, you guys probably saw all the mock drafts like I did. What team did everyone have Dallas Turner going to at pick number 8? Atlanta. Almost every mock draft I saw, that was the one consensus pick. So he's not only playing the team who didn't take him, but he's playing opposite of the guy they took instead, and his whole job is to hit that man. I think, and we Vikings fans debate over how good Dallas Turner is. I have a lot of optimism in him because he's still young and because he's playing behind 2 All-Pros. I think that the pass rush will still be good because I think Dallas Turner is going to be out for blood. I think our cornerback group, after Byron Murphy and Isaiah Rodgers, who had a really big game, his first opportunity to really be a true starting corner instead of a rotational guy like he was in Philly, I don't know what that's going to look like. And so you guys having London healthy and your receiving group healthy, that worries me a bit.
Speaking of pass rushers, I think Mike's gonna like this. And my thought is, every kid is gonna have to stay on his damn feet in this matchup. Kind of going back to the quarterback conversation just a tad bit on it, like you said, man. You got the opportunities to, like you said, take the quarterback down. And truth will tell you this better than anybody says. He's one of the coaches on this show right as of right now. The discipline, like you said, Falcons, Vikings. This game's gonna be who's gonna be the most disciplined. And like you said, not necessarily talking about penalties, but who's just going to take advantage of the plays that need to be made in order to keep their team afloat. And we can't afford to be missing sacks when the opportunity is there. I mean, I could be right, I could be wrong. I'm just saying. Oh yeah, speaking of, how do you feel? How did you feel about the departure of Cam Bynum? Do you think that do you think that could be something that might hurt y'all in the long run, or what you got on that, Jason?
I love Cam. Cam is a class A human being, incredible dude. He brought insane vibes. It hurt to see him get that pick in his first game with Indy, but then again, he was playing against Tua, who that's just his vibe now, is just giving the other team the ball. So I'll give Cam credit, but I'm not gonna be like, oh man, we lost an elite safety just based off that play. I think it hurts. Theo Jackson's our other safety who's stepping in. The Vikings run a lot of what you would technically call 3 safety sets. So last year, what that looked like was Harrison Smith, Cam Bynum, and then Josh Metellus would be the third safety, but he's played every position on defense. If you guys aren't super familiar with Josh Metellus, just Google his name and go to images, and you'll see an ESPN breakdown of he lined up at every single position on defense the last couple of years, even defensive tackle. Brian Flores loves this guy. Don, I'm sure you know him out of Michigan. The guy's a Swiss Army knife, probably the most slept on player in the league. He'll probably play a little more traditional safety if Harrison Smith is out again. He's dealing with a mystery illness. But Theo Jackson in limited action has played great. Jay Ward, another safety that we took a few years ago, he was our highest rated, I believe, PFF grade in the entire game on defense. So we have depth. Is it going to be as good as Cam Bynum? Maybe not. But I was more worried about safety a couple weeks ago than I am now after seeing Monday night.
Okay. All right, Don, you got a question with Jason?
All right, Romo, the kicker that we just signed.
My guy.
All right, what's your thoughts about him, man?
First of all, I'm a Will Riker diehard. So even when we had John Parker Romo, I knew that great experience would have to end, because I just think Will Riker, Will the Thrill as we call him, is a legend. But I'm a big John Parker Romo fan because everyone on Twitter said that him and I look alike, which is we're just white dudes with beards. I don't think it's that crazy. So I just kind of embraced the meme and ran with it, photoshopped my face and all that. But he showed up. I think I might have the stat incorrect. I believe on actual field goal attempts for us in the 3 or 4 weeks that Riker was out, he was 12 for 13, including a game winner in Chicago and a game in Jacksonville where Darnold fell apart anytime we got onto Jacksonville's side. We had a ton of offensive yards and could not score. I believe he scored every single point for us in that game. Is he there? Look, I'm going to be honest and say there's a reason he's bouncing between practice squads, right? He's probably not going to be some elite franchise kicker, but given what you guys are dealing with, and it is funny as a Vikings fan seeing the Falcons have kicking issues just because of revenge for '98. I'm sorry.
Wow,
I'm bitter.
you really went there. You went there, you son of a gun.
He didn't do that.
Hey, I've dealt. You don't know my pain. That Blair Walsh, Greg Joseph, you don't know what I've seen, man. That Blair Walsh kick against Seattle. Oh, brother. So let me victory lap a little bit here. I think it's fair.
Y'all got the Minnesota Miracle.
And where did that get us?
Hey, y'all beat the Saints. That's all that
Got crushed the next week. Anyways, now I'm talking about too many NFC Championship losses. We got to move on. But I do think John Parker Romo is probably the best guy you could have brought in to put some pressure on Koo. And I think that will be – I would not be shocked – personally, if he misses another kick, I think John Parker Romo should be your kicker going forward. I think that him being there should be enough to help him get his stuff together. And if he can't handle the pressure of competition, John Parker Romo is going to be a guy who's probably not going to have hit a 65-yarder for you to win a game or something, right? But he's going to be consistent enough where you guys won't have to stress over mundane kicks. And I'm guessing, because I've experienced the pain of having kicker issues, you guys would take that over what you have now.
Yes. We missed the playoffs because of our kicker. So, yes, we
Fucking Riley Paps. God damn. You see, now y'all see. You know what? No. I went to therapy for this. I wasn't gonna do this.
And I'm glad you brought up Josh Metellus, man, because he was a great safety coming out of Michigan, man. I don't understand why his draft stock dropped so low in 2020.
No idea.
Because he sound like a Ninja Turtle. He sound like he want to eat pizza. You sitting to hear that name?
Man,
Josh Patella. I don't know how the heck you use that.
I ain't know how to pronounce it, but yeah. Just going back off of what y'all saying about Koo. Yeah, I think like you said, there's like as far as missing the game, when they're gonna give him another chance, but like you said, it's kind of skating on thin ice, and we got we got Jason up here talking about, yeah, that's my guy right there. So I think a lot of people in the chat looking like, oh, we might have us one.
Don't get too excited, because what I'll say though is like, he's my guy, because it's not easy that your starting kicker gets hurt and you pull a guy off the street and he only misses one field goal over like a month, right? Like I said, I don't think he's going to be hitting 60-yard bombs. He's not going to be Justin Tucker, but he's consistent enough on the kicks he should make where you're not going to have to feel a panic attack every time you go for a field goal or extra point.
Yeah.
Well, we just hope. But the thing is, it's up to our coaching staff to see if he's going to make the team or not, because we done seen Raheem make some crazy doggone decisions.
You should keep him on the practice squad regardless, because I would not be shocked if he doesn't get elevated next week if San Francisco doesn't take him, because they just dropped their kicker. I don't even know who they brought on. I'm sure they'll have to soon, but I believe Romo's on your practice squad, which means if he signed to an active roster, he could be poached.
I'm so upset they end up cutting him, man. I'm like, man, he was good.
What are you talking about, Moody?
Yes, Jake Moody, man. Like,
go get him if you need to. You guys need something.
Shoot from the 49ers fans I talked to. They like good riddance. But
Look,
like
no,
I said,
he's that guy, man. He's that guy. He's the one. He's a great kicker, man. He just got to develop. That's all. He's young.
I think we need to get the Jew talk. Let's get the Jews.
yeah, come
Yeah.
We're gonna be talking about Mexican for the rest of the night.
All right, Jew man.
I'm done
Well.
probably plotting my death right about now, y'all.
All right, Jude, man. What you got on the conversation, man?
Yeah, I kind of touched on it last night. Like when it comes to the kicker, I told you guys, John Parker Romo, former Virginia Tech Hokie, good kicker. Like I said, I would give him every opportunity to compete with Young Koo, and I will allow, what I'm seeing at practice. My main thing with Koo is when you lose your confidence, we can't deal with you, and that's my thing with Koo is like him missing those kicks was just basically like a choke job. He got nervous. He got the kick he kicked at the end of the game was not even close. He was pushing all the kicks to the right. So in his head at this point, it's not even that he can't kick anymore. He has the skill set. It's all in his mind. It's mental at this point. So if he can't pull it together, we need to bring in whoever we need to bring in, whether it's Romo, whether it's Lenny Krieg, whoever it is, bring in somebody, like he said, that can make he hit the dang on a 30-some yard off the up, right? And it happened to just go in. So he was already messing up when he did that. So that just told me right then, like, yeah, something going on with Koo. He doesn't have it. So my thing is, if I'm the coach, I'm having them kick against each other all week long, and I'm looking at Koo on is he acting normal? How does his confidence look? Because that's what it comes down to. When the game is on the line, that pressure get on you, it's all about confidence at that point. So that's why I'm sitting with the kicker situation. If y'all don't think he mentally he doesn't have it, bench him and let Romo. Let's see what Romo can do. That's how I feel about it at this point with Younghoe. I just feel like he's lost his confidence. And just looking at him, when you leave, he left before even talking to the media. That told me everything that I needed to know. If you confident, you stand up there and you talk to the media. I don't care how you feeling in that moment. Stand there and answer the questions. Everybody that made mistakes, and pretty much all of his teammates had his back. Everybody that talked after last week's game, Penix, all the guys when they brought up who they had to, they backed him up. But I'm like, as a man, you got to stand there and take them questions. When you mess up, take the questions. When you win and get all the glory, take the questions. So I didn't like that he left early. They talking about he just went in the locker room and hurry up and left. I don't like that.
Now, with the sign that I saw about the confidence part, and that's a good point, Jew. You had to look at the body language that he had when he missed that final kick. He literally fell to the ground as if Jesus done denied him the pearly gates of heaven or something like that. Um, the one thing about that position as a kicker, I know a lot of football fans kind of take that position for granted, but that is a very volatile position. And like you said, once that confidence and once you start doubting yourself, start creeping in, like you said, everything started pushing to the right. And like you said, you can't have multiple games where you half of your kicks is doinking off the upright. Then, like I said, the coach is gonna have every right to kind of, okay, you don't have the confidence that we need for that position right now. And I'm gonna say it like this: I ain't worried about Romo kicking those 60-yard field goals, because if he's constantly have to kick 60-yard field goals, then you got an offensive problem. All right. All right, so it's pretty much the whole matchup, man. Like I said, we can have a little bit of the fun part here. Um, Dog, this is your part of the show, man. You know what to do.
All right. So, who's your favorite all-time Minnesota Viking player?
Damn, that's tough. That's hard. It depends. If it's who I grew up with, it's got to be Adrian Peterson or Percy Harvin, because I think Percy Harvin, when he was healthy, man, that guy was special.
Exciting.
Yeah. I think it's got to be Chris Carter. So little I'm from California, originally moved to Arizona, just moved to Minnesota to cover the team. But I'm a Vikings fan because of my dad. They were the first team he saw on TV. He passed away 10 years ago this past Monday night, the night of the game. Was 10 years ago since he passed away. So when I was in Chicago, I was rocking his old starter bomber jacket. So that first half, I was like, man, today I really thought we were going to get it done for him. And then naturally, we do the most Vikings thing ever. So his favorite player, I bring that up, was Chris Carter. So I got to say CC. My dad was a lot bigger than I am. So I have his old CC jersey. I can't rock it because it's like a 2X from the 90s. So that thing does not work. Because I'm like a full 5'7", $150. That wouldn't look like a dress. But I got to say Chris Carter because of my dad. That's when I first started watching the games growing up. But as far as like when I really started getting into football, man, Adrian Peterson and Percy Harvin, even though those teams didn't do much other than when we had Favre, I was lucky to watch those two play football in their prime, man. That was special.
And when you say Adrian Peterson, I gotta ask you the question, man, about Christian Ponder.
Oh, dude. So the funny thing is, I'm guessing y'all used to play, as your football fans, the old NCAA games, right? Like the new one's out, but like the old school, like NCAA 10 and 09 and all that.
Oh,
And it used to be when you get the quarterbacks and it'd be like QB7 or whatever. I used to go on these forums and download this guy's custom rosters and get the real ones and import them into Madden. And I would I would always draft Christian Ponder to the Vikings before it happened because in college, like he had an arm, dude. Like he was kind of crazy. And so when we drafted him, I was happy, but I even in the moment was like, we reached. Like that was like the quarterback run started with Blaine Gabbert and Jake Locker and all those guys, and I was like, ooh, we went a little quick there. But oh well, like we got our guy. I think he's one of those guys who had flashes, but they were so few and far between. I also think the coaching staff he had did him no favors. Not to say it would have been different, but man, you put a kid like that with Kevin O'Connell, sky's the limit, right? Or Sean McVay. But he was with like Leslie Frazier, who's become a defensive coordinator in multiple spots after. So those were rough years. I'll say that much. I do remember Adrian's 2K year. We went into the playoffs and Ponder was out and we had to play Joe Webb, who ended up becoming a wide receiver after at quarterback. And it was the one time I missed Christian Ponder. Went into Lambeau. Adrian Peterson had like 5 straight carries. We marched down into Green Bay territory and we took the ball out of his hands. And as soon as Joe Webb went to throw the ball, he ended up fumbling it and turning it over. It was crazy.
Hey man, shout out to Purple and Gold Boys. He said Falcons couldn't handle home field advantage and it's going to be much of the same. We'll take a lead early and capitalize on all the false starts. It's going to be loud in US Bank.
I'll say this real quick on that. US Bank can get rocking, but there is an energy, and I obviously just moved to Minnesota, but even when I was in Arizona, I'd fly out for a ton of home games. The vibe in the air this year, and it's probably being KOC's 4th year and us exceeding expectations last year, but I think it has a lot to do with JJ McCarthy. The vibe is different, dude. Like, I haven't seen people this stoked about a Viking season in a minute. So I expect it, especially with not only JJ's first home game, but Adam Thielen being back. People here love Adam Thielen. They love the defense. It's going to be insane in there. So if false starts were something you guys are worried about, I would really hope they're working on that for you guys in practice and pumping in that crowd noise as loud as they can.
So pretty much just go around the panel, man. Like I said, Vikings players that you like that you like. I mean, I'm kind of expecting the very next person to say this particular name. So we're gonna go with Truth, man. Like I said, which one of these Viking players that you grew up that you said was one of your favorites? Truth.
I got one defense, one offense. My
He been short.
my defense would be Alan Page, defensive lineman. defensive end, defensive lineman, and on offense, my offense would be Chuck Foreman.
Okay.
Yeah, I went way back. I took
Ball
y'all on.
knowledge. Yeah, dude. Ball knowledge right there. There's a couple Ring of Honor members. My guy,
Yeah,
dude.
I went on the way back machine with that one.
Hey, look, that's good history right there. So, like I said, people need to learn some history on both multifacets of teams and eras. Like you said, man, the Purple People Eaters was definitely an era of defensive football that put a lot of fear in people.
Mhm.
But what about you, Drew?
You know where it's gonna start in the K Styles on the offense. When you're born in the '80s, raised in the '90s,
We already know.
2000, you already know Randy Moss. My cousin used to call him Randy Sauce. Yeah, Randy eating hot tamales before the game. Yeah, Randy Moss was my favorite offensive player, and then defense. I gotta say Jared Allen. Jared Allen was the dog. Just recently got into the Hall of Fame. You guys know how I feel about pass rush, so those two speak for themselves.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm. What about you, Mike?
That fucking alien that they had in the backfield. Well, because that motherfucker was not real. Okay, he's not real at all. Period. Point blank. I didn't give a damn about the Minnesota Vikings until Adrian Peterson was there. That dude is not fucking human, and I don't care what that knockout and the boxing that son of a bitch is not real. Okay, he's not real. I've seen that one time and just in clips, and it was O.J. Simpson reincarnated. That dude was a fucking alien. You just like if I'm a quarterback guy, but when you just look at him as a quarterback, you find yourself just sitting there and just watching. All right, what is he gonna do now? This dude can run past you, run through you, catch the ball out of the backfield. He can block. Like this, Adrian Peterson was just that dude was just must see TV, man. It was like watching Mike Tyson. It was like watching Mike Tyson and somewhat in the '80s. I didn't see a lot of it, but more so in the '90s with Mike Tyson. That like I said, he was just he was it was almost like a main attraction, a freak attraction. That's what it is with watching Adrian Peterson, man. It was just must see TV for me.
Hmm. I'm gonna quickly say mine, man, and like I said, we gonna
I
put some respect. We just gonna put a respect on the position. I'm gonna say offensively, I'm gonna go with Jimmy Klein Saucer.
I know you was gonna say that. I know you.
Yeah, of course. We gotta show love to the fullbacks, man. And defensively, I'm gonna say Pat Williams.
I'm with good people. Y'all know your stuff. I
agree with you.
decide. I see this happen all the time. Everyone's like Adrian Peterson, Randy Moss, through and through. You guys are spitting some bars right now. I love it.
All right. Let me get
We were
mine
just
in.
talking about Klein sauce. Kim and I was actually just talking about Klein sauce.
We'll talk about.
Yeah.
Go
Let me
ahead,
get my
Don.
two. Let me get my two in. My two is AC Anthony Carter, and back in the day, and Steve Hutchinson.
Now Hutch was he was a
Nah,
freak.
Hutch was an animal.
He
Like
was
I said, I like I said, like not just Hutch, but I give a shout out to Matt Burke too.
But people forget about Anthony Carter, man. Anthony Carter was great for the Vikings back in the '80s, man.
I know one former Viking that's gonna be in the Hall of Shame for us
And he
Falcon
also
fans.
went to Michigan. Excuse me for interjecting, but I
We
had to throw
know,
that
we
in.
know. We tried to
We
get past that
know.
and use that
We know.
Love you,
but I
Don.
will. Look, I'm about to say, but there is one former Viking that will be in the Hall of Shame for Falcon fans, and that's Mr. Ray Edwards. Played good. Minnesota came down here, became a model, and was gone after a year. But
Our
go
bad on
ahead.
that.
Now that was his fault. He got caught up in the Atlanta life and thought he was too good. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and close it out, man. Hey, Jason, man, we appreciate you coming on with us, talking some ball, man. Like I said,
Appreciate you having me.
Hey, look, we'll be welcome anytime. Like I said, next time, probably reminisce about that '98 game. And while you say
I had
that,
to. It wasn't. Look, it wasn't gonna not get brought up.
it was gonna get brought up.
I gotta get mine where I can.
But just probably next time, just to explain to the people how special that '98 team for the Vikings really was.
Yeah, I think that's really some of my first football memories with my pops, that 15-1 team. Cunningham coming in. I mean, I think he was not even really playing the year before. Like, no one had any expectations. The closest I can compare it to is last year with Darnold, but better. Just no expectations. Like, okay, this is who they're rolling with at quarterback. They have elite receivers, right? Everyone knew that would be the case. But then you have Randy Moss, who everyone knew would be good, but then he becomes like obviously somebody who's going to be one of the greatest of all time just from what he showed in his first year. That Thanksgiving game in Dallas, 3 catches, 3 touchdowns. Those are types of things where they almost seemed unbeatable. And, you have the Anderson missed kick that kind of just makes things fall apart from there. But that's just what we do. We put these historic teams together, and then something crazy happens at the last second. That Favre throwing an interception in New Orleans, whatever it is. But that team is probably hands down the best Vikings team that we've ever assembled, especially from an offensive perspective.
The best one I ever seen.
Hands down. You had Robert Smith at running back. You had 3 deep with Jake Reed, Chris Carter, Randy Moss. Like, that team was insane.
Gary hadn't missed a field goal in almost 2 years. That's what was crazy.
And he's inside. People, that part always gets left. The Metrodome was one of the most kicker-friendly stadiums, and I'm gonna have to go talk to my therapist. Thanks.
we apologize on that.
My bad, man. Well, I won't mention Vic walking y'all off in overtime, so I won't say
Hey, real quick though, one thing I got to shout out with the Falcons, right, is I think you guys could appreciate this if you know Mike Vick's game and kind of what made him so special. You got to go back in history for the Vikings and look at what Fran Tarkenton did, being the first scrambling kind of dual threat quarterback the league ever saw. Obviously, Vick, completely different levels of elite in that, but kind of setting that template for what eventually we saw with Michael Vick. I think there's a special connection there as far as 2 quarterbacks who kind of reinvented how football was played. Mm-hmm. That's something that we'll always be able to look at if you're a ball knower and look at history of the game. Yeah. That's a big connection.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we definitely got respect for Fran Tarkenton over here. I understand how important he was. At a point in time, he was one of the best passers in the league too. He was like the career passer leader for a good little while before Dan Marino got there.
So. Guy set the template for what NFL QBs would need to become down the road.
I think he was the first to lose 4 Super Bowls. Didn't he lose 4 Super Bowls in the 70s?
I believe it was 3. But thank you. The team lost 4. I think it was. I believe Joe Cap was quarterbacking for one of them. But thanks for that too. I wasn't even alive for that, and that hurts. So good stuff there.
These guys are some buttholes, man. I'm not being a butthole because Fran went to Georgia, and I'm a Georgia fan. So
for it. Nah, we just messing with Truth on that one. We just messing with him.
Hey, at least I've never mind. I'm not gonna do the Brady Bowl to you guys, but we both had our pain. We'll put it that way.
You got to go.
hey, all love, guys. Hey, it's all love. Thank you guys for having me on. If anybody wants to follow on Twitter, I got my handle right there in the little white bubble under my name. Some of my favorite people on Twitter are Falcons fans. You guys are funny as hell, so I'll gladly follow you guys back.
All right, man. We definitely appreciate you, man. And like I said, man, y'all make sure y'all hit them buttons. Like I said, 6K Live, Mad Mind Sports, Jude Talk Sports, Truth, TV and Entertainment. And also make sure you keep on showing love and support for the Heavy Hitters Live. So until next time, people, we ain't here to play.
Oh, no.
He here to stay.
Ooh yeah, dig it.
You ain't got to go home.
But you got to get the hell up out of here.
I was surprised you ain't asked no questions about no damn food, Don. That's the first time.
I told y'all I'm on a diet. I'm doing better. I got in
I'm
blood.
talking about the attractions. We ain't talking about you
Ain't
stuffing your
nobody.
face,
Right?
man.
Why you had to bring it up, Kev? Now we about to hear about.
Shit, we getting out of here, man. We out.